National Geographic Kids. Meteors. Melissa Stewart. Streaks of light. Every day, thousands of small space rocks enter Earth's atmosphere. Together, these meteoroids weigh more than 9 buses. But don't worry. Most space rocks never hit the ground. They burn up as they fall through the atmosphere. And that creates the fiery streaks of light scientists call meteors. Meteor meanings. Atmosphere, the layer of gases that surrounds a planet. Meteoroid, a small rocky object in space or the atmosphere. Meteor, the streak of light produced as a meteoroid burns up in the atmosphere. If you watch the sky for an hour on a clear night, you will probably see 2 or 3 meteors. This time-lapse photo captured 6 meteors in just 8 minutes. This illustration shows a close-up view of small meteoroids beginning to glow as they enter Earth's atmosphere. Why was the meteor unhappy? He knew he'd never be a star. Some people call meteors shooting stars or falling stars, but a meteor is very different from a star. Most stars are so far away that we could never visit them. They burn bright for billions of years. Most of the meteors we see are about 60 miles away, and their glow lasts just a few seconds. Most of the meteoroids that enter Earth's atmosphere are smaller than this pea. They burn up long before they reach our planet's surface. But some meteoroids are much larger. Why do meteors light up the night sky? Think about it like this. On cold days, you can warm your hands by rubbing them together. You create heat because a force called friction is at work. Meteor meaning. Friction, a force that resists the motion between 2 objects that are in contact with one another. Friction can be created in Earth's atmosphere, too. Some meteoroids cruise toward our planet at more than 150,000 miles an hour. As a space rock rubs against gases in the atmosphere, it creates heat. All that heat makes it glow. Down to Earth. Not all meteoroids burn up completely as they plummet toward Earth. The instant a space rock lands, scientists call it a meteorite. Most meteorites are no bigger than a grain of sand, but some are as big as a boulder. Meteor meaning. Meteorite, a space rock that lands on Earth, another planet, or a moon. Weird but true. Around 500 meteorites land on Earth each year, but only about 5 of them are ever identified as space rocks. What's in a name? A small rocky object traveling through space is called a meteoroid. When it enters Earth's atmosphere, it produces a streak of light called a meteor. Atmosphere. If it strikes our planet's surface, we call it a meteorite. Scientists divide meteorites into 3 main groups. Stony meteorites. These are the most common meteorites on Earth, but they're hard to spot. They look very similar to Earth rocks. Weird but true. Some groups of early peoples used the iron in meteorites to make knife blades. Iron meteorites. These meteorites are shiny, so it's easy to tell that they're from out of this world. They're made mostly of two metals, iron and nickel. Stony iron meteorites. These meteorites are also easy to spot, but they aren't very common. They're chunky mixtures of metal and rock. Meteorite Hall of Fame. Check out these record-setting meteorites. Hoba. Where it landed, Namibia. Hoba is the largest known meteorite in the world. It's about 9 feet long, 9 feet wide, and 3 feet tall. A farmer found the meteorite while he was plowing a field. A tourist center was opened at the site. Where the Hoba meteorite was found, Nogata. Where are landed, Nogata, Japan. What's the space rock's claim to fame? It's the remains of the oldest meteorite strike that can be dated exactly. It fell on May 19th, 861. That's more than 1,150 years ago. Gibeon. Where it landed, Namibia. Gibeon created more rubble than any other meteorite when it hit the ground. Pieces of the space rock are spread over an area almost as large as the state of Maryland, USA. Pieces of Gibeon on display. Cape York. Where it landed, Greenland. When this meteorite struck Earth, it broke into several. Giant pieces. You can see the largest chunk, which weighs more than 4 elephants, at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City, USA. It's the biggest meteorite on display in a museum. Out of this word. Where do meteoroids come from? To find out, you'll need to climb into a spacesuit and get ready for a long journey. We're headed into space. Earth's closest planetary neighbors are Venus and Mars. The asteroid belt, a ring of medium-sized rocky objects, orbits the sun between Mars and Jupiter. Asteroid belt. Mars. Venus. Jupiter. Mercury. Earth. Meteor meanings. Solar system, a star and everything that orbits it. Orbit, to move in a path around another object such as a star. Asteroid, a space rock that's larger than a meteoroid but smaller than a planet. Earth is part of a solar system. The sun is at the center of our solar system, and other objects orbit it. Saturn. Neptune. Uranus. The sun. Some planets. A bunch of asteroids. Does our solar system end there? Not by a long shot. The planets are surrounded by a huge area of space called the Kuiper Belt. And that's not all. A region known as the scattered disk overlaps part of the Kuiper Belt, and it stretches far, far out into space. At the very edge of our solar system is an even bigger area called the Oort cloud. The top part of this illustration shows a close-up view of the center of our solar system. The bottom part shows its position within the Oort cloud. What did the sun say to the Oort cloud? You're far out. Sun. The Kuiper Belt is a giant disk that surrounds the planets. Sun. The Oort cloud is a ball-shaped region at the edges of our solar system. Scientists don't know enough about the scattered disk to draw a picture of it. Becoming a meteoroid. The asteroid belt, Kuiper belt, scattered disk, and Oort cloud all contain huge numbers of orbiting objects. At least 2 million rocky asteroids orbit in the asteroid belt. Many others share an orbit with Jupiter or Mars. The Kuiper belt contains at least 1 trillion small icy objects, and the Oort cloud may contain as many as 2 trillion. An artist's vision of asteroids orbiting in the asteroid belt. Sometimes those orbiting objects break apart, and some of the pieces become meteoroids that eventually enter Earth's atmosphere. Weird but true. Most objects in space are round, but asteroids come in all kinds of shapes. Most asteroids speed through space at more than 50,000 miles an hour, so crashes can cause a lot of damage. From asteroid to meteoroid. As asteroids move through space, they crash into each other like bumper cars. Small bits break off and become meteoroids. What did the asteroid say to the meteoroid? You're a chip off the old block. Stony meteorites come from the surface of asteroids. Inside an asteroid. Almost all of the meteorites people find on Earth come from asteroids. Iron meteorites come from the core of asteroids. Stony iron meteorites come from the area between an asteroid's rocky surface and its metal core. Most of the time, these new meteoroids stay in the same orbit as the asteroid they came from. But when a meteoroid does get knocked out of its orbit, it may be attracted by the gravity of a nearby planet, such as Earth. Meteor meaning gravity, a force that pulls objects toward the center of a planet or other body. From comet to meteoroid. Meteoroids also come from the small objects in the Kuiper belt scattered disk and Oort cloud. These objects have rocky cores and icy surfaces. When they get knocked out of these regions and travel toward the sun, they give off gas and dust. Scientists call them comets. Meteor meaning comet, a chunk of ice, frozen gases, rock, and dust that orbits the sun. What did the Oort cloud say to the comet? You're a real knockout. A comet up close. As the sun's gravity pulls a comet toward the center of our solar system, the icy ball heats up and begins to change. Nucleus. Gases and dust escape from the comet's hard, solid nucleus. Coma. Some gases and dust form a cloud-like coma around the nucleus. They glow brightly as they reflect sunlight. Dust tail. Some of the dust trails out behind the nucleus. LT forms a long, thick tail. Gas tail. Some of the gases form a thinner tail. A comet's nucleus keeps on orbiting the sun, but material from its long dust tail gets left behind. This material becomes tiny meteoroids. Most of the meteoroids that enter